Hello and welcome back to another knitting pod. I'm Lena and I'm so glad to be sitting down with you today. I haven't recorded a full episode in over a week. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but I love taping every week. I love, I'm always having conversations with you guys in my head. So I'm really excited to sit down with you today. Last week, a week from today, a week ago today, I posted just a little mini update, but then the week just got so crazy. Even though I had meant to tape a regular pod at the end of the week, it just didn't happen. So thank you for being patient. Today is a full-on pod, so settle in and I'm gonna update you on everything that's been going on. How was your weekend? I hope it was amazing. We had a really good one here. Like I said, last week was a little bit tough. I'll get into that at the end of the pod because I promise you always that I try to talk the knitting stuff first and then life stuff second. But it was a good weekend. We did a little Secret Cupid. It is February 13th today. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day. I am not a Valentine's Day person in terms of in a romantic way. I adore my husband. He's my favorite person on the planet, but I'm just not a Valentine's Day person. I think we express our love for each other all the time. It just is not a thing. But I love Valentine's Day with the kids. I think it's just such a fun holiday. And obviously, any holiday that enables me to lean even heavier into pink, I'm in. So this year we did something called Secret Cupid. So kind of like Secret Santa, we picked, randomly assigned each other, like our whole little family of 4. Each of us picked another person and then we each got them a gift. Well, we got that person a gift. And then we had like a little special dinner with our favorite meal and exchanged gifts. And it was so much fun. One of my, I hate the word resolution, you know this, but one of the things I wanted to do this year was bring a more small celebration into our lives. I love the holidays, but sometimes they can be so big and high pressure that I think I kind of just opt out in a lot of ways. And I kind of felt sad about that this year, that we didn't do a lot of, holiday adjacent things at Christmas time. So I just felt like, why not try to make smaller holidays a little bit more special? There's no pressure from like your bigger family. There's no pressure societally, like to really go all out. So it was really fun. I highly suggest it. If you guys kind of ever feel that way, that you just want to spruce up the smaller holidays and bring a little more of that special feeling into kind of every month. There's always something, right? Whether it's St. Patty's Day or Valentine's Day or Halloween, we have a lot of holidays. So anyway, I know I said I wasn't going to update you on life, but I just wanted to tell you that we did that this weekend and it was really fun. And I happened to draw my son, and my son also drew me. And he got me this gorgeous candle that I have lit here. I adore candles. I love to light a candle when I am knitting or, journaling about my podcasts or whatever I'm going to chat about. I always light a candle. It just feels so special. It's a way to spruce up life just a little bit. So this gorgeous candle, and I think what I felt so excited about was we all, as I think a lot of you will relate, if you're the mother in your family, you end up doing a lot of the buying, for everybody's gifts. I'm the one, it all kind of falls to me. But this was a chance for everybody, including the kids, to kind of think about what their person would like. And for my 13-year-old to be so thoughtful and buy me my favorite brand of candle, and it's Black Amber Vanilla, which is just such a gorgeous scent. And I just felt seen and known by him. So anyway, that was the highlight of my weekend. But yes, on to knitting. I'm sorry for that little sideways traipse into life. What is on my needles? Well, I had the inexplicable urge last week, and I really don't know why. It's kind of been brewing, the urge to cast on a neon pink hat. I don't know why. I think I've just been seeing it a lot on Instagram, various people in neon pink hats, and I don't know why, but I love pink. So I couldn't resist. And I think the little nudge I needed just to push me into it was a designer that I had come to my attention. Her name is Sari Nordland. I've seen her all over Instagram. I started following her and I love her patterns. So beautiful. Cabled, a lot of them are cabled, very classic, just really beautiful. Not necessarily simple, but she has just a really beautiful point of view. She had posted a picture of her new hat pattern. It was called the Robin Beanie, and she knit it up in this neon pink, and it was so spectacular. I just took it as a sign from the universe that I needed to cast on a neon pink hat. And you guys know, if you watched a previous episode, that I had procured this incredible pink yarn. Here she is. Now the name of it has just gone straight out of my head. I know the colorway is Neon Fishnets, and I don't remember the brand. I'll put it in the show notes. I had gotten it with the intention of making leg warmers, but I just felt so drawn to turn this into a hat. Maybe because I just wanted the pink on my head instead of my legs. So yeah, every time I walked past a mirror, I would get a jolt of bright pink happiness. And I'm so glad I did. So Robin Beanie, she cast it on holding a strand of fingering weight in pink with a matching strand of mohair. You guys know I have mentioned before, I struggle with mohair. I love it. I think it is spectacular. But I am wearing this sweater because I wanted to show you the sweater that in the past I told you, I think I talked about it last time, that I really hurt my hand knitting a mohair sweater. And this is that sweater. I want to say it was worth it, even though the price was almost like a mental breakdown, because after knitting this sweater, I had to take like a week off of knitting, and we went on vacation to the mountains. It was last August, and I made my husband hide my knitting because when I got there, I realized I don't just need to like knit less. I really needed to take a break and give my hands a break. And I thought being on vacation, I would be distracted. So he hid my knitting. You guys, it was all I could do not to just literally attack him in the middle of the night and tell him, give me my knitting back or else. But I didn't. I was a good girl. I made it through the week. But anyway, I digress. This is the sweater that caused that problem. This is the, I think it's called Phantom Fuzz by Park Williams, who is Park and Knit, I believe, on Instagram. It's this beautiful V-neck, very simple, just held one strand of mohair on like a larger gauge needle. It's a really simple pattern. You can see I'll move my hair a little. I think it's kind of like a bell sleeve, top down. I had no problems with this sweater until I got to the sleeves. There's something about the small circumference magic loop knitting with mohair. It kept getting caught in the little neck of the needle. And I was looking over here to see if I had a needle that I could show you what I mean. But if you look at just a regular size, US size 10 needle, the needle will be like this and then it'll taper. Somehow, maybe because I was knitting tighter in magic loop, every time I would flip my needles to knit down the other side, all those stitches would get caught in that little neck, and I would have to push those stitches up really aggressively to get them up onto my needle. And doing so was like putting a whole bunch of tension right here in my thumb, and it was causing so much pain. And my physical therapist, who is an angel dropped down from heaven and saves my life on the regular, was like, I know you love this yarn and you love this sweater, and I want you to love this sweater forever, but you're never to knit that sleeve thing again. She's not a knitter, but she was like, it's just not worth it, right? Because that tension that it creates a lot of inflammation, and then if you keep knitting, it can create a lot of problems in your hands in the future, which terrifies me. I told you guys, I live in fear because it would be the end of me if I couldn't knit. This is a long story. However, I had this yarn left over from this project. This is Wandering Flock, which I adore. I don't remember the colorway. I think it was Holographic Dreams or something like that. Gorgeous, gorgeous colorway. As you can see, it's so, so beautiful. It's just these soft rainbow pastel colors. And as you can see, knit up, it's this absolutely stunning fabric it creates. I had a bunch left over, and I thought, everybody gets to knit with fingering and mohair held together. And y'all are always posting your incredible projects. And I'm always so jealous, but I'm so scared to hold mohair with fingering. Because what if that same thing happens? But I decided, you know what? Whatever. Let's give it a try. If it's not working and I'm having to do that pushing thing again, I'll scrap it and figure out something else. I'll use a heavier yarn for this beanie. So I cast this on together, and I'm so glad I did, because something about the mohair and this fingering together, I don't know if it is because the fingering and the mohair sort of stick together and the stitches slide with no problem. And I will show you my beautiful hat in progress. Here she is, the Robin Beanie. Isn't it gorgeous? It is a top-down hat pattern, which is super unusual, I think. I have not knit a bunch of hats. I've knit a few, but I've never knit a top-down hat. It's really cool. It starts with something called a circular cast on, which I had never done, but which reminded me a lot of Magic Circle in crochet. If you are familiar, I crocheted before I knit, and it really reminded me of that. It was a really fun new cast on to learn. And then you do a lot of increases and lots of make one lefts and make one rights and make one purl make ones, which I had never done before. So it was a really fun kind of not too hard, not too easy, learning something new, keeping your attention. Really love this pattern. If you are so inclined, go forth and cast on with confidence. I actually think Sorry Nordland is doing a knit along for the Robin Beanie, which I did not know when I cast it on. But yeah, so here she is. I have to say, I'm not sure if I'm a little disappointed that this mohair kind of muted the pink and created kind of a little variegation in the pink, because I really, really love the just pow in your face neonness of this with not a speckle, no variegation. So honestly, if I had had a matching mohair with this, I think I would be happier, but alas, I didn't. And I didn't want to buy any new mohair. And I had this whole ball of leftovers, and I thought it would be a great way to enjoy it, because we don't stash bust around here. We stash enjoy. Got to think of a cuter phrase for that, but no stash busting. I don't like that phrase. Just enjoying our tools and the gifts of yarn that we have. So these two together, honestly, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me if you wore like a hot pink lipstick and then you put lip gloss on top of it. Doesn't it? That's what it reminds me of. So it's like a lip gloss hat. And I think from afar, you don't see as much of the variegation. It just looks kind of muted. But you guys, if you could reach through and touch this, it is the floofiest, softest, dreamiest thing you've ever touched. I mean, oh my goodness. I'm just thrilled. I love it so much. I went down a needle size because I'm a loose knitter. I did not gauge swatch because, y'all, I can't be bothered to gauge swatch for a hat. Like, who has time for that? I do not. So I went down a needle size to, I don't remember, 2.75 millimeter or 2.25 millimeter, I think. The smallest needle in my ChowGoo, normal size ChowGoo set. And I was fearful that it was still gonna be too loose. There's only one size. It doesn't have multiple sizes for this hat. So when I was, this morning, I was thinking about it. I'm probably like, I don't know where I am here at this point. It's gonna be double, like folded over. I decided to find the smallest needle I have, which is like not even toothpicks. It's like a needle. It's US 00. So I don't know. I have the little package. I think 1.5 or something. It is the tiniest thing. The cord is like the flopsiest thing. I started using that needle today thinking that maybe it'll make the ribbing part here tighter, which of course it will because it's a smaller needle. And maybe that will make the hat fit perfectly. That's my hope. Fingers and toes are crossed. I don't know. What do you guys do if your hat turns out too big? I would love to know. And this would go towards even my socks, you know, my painting brick socks, my pride and joy. This is my thing. Superwash yarn always stretches out, but superwash yarn seems to be what people knit socks out of because they have some, you can get it in with nylon. But it's stretchier, right? Naturally. So they kind of stretched out in that top ribbing part. Have you guys ever like run, you know, like some elastic thread through? Does that help? I read somewhere that you can kind of do like a slip stitch row inside with a crochet hook of a brim of a hat. So I tried that with a hat in the past. And it worked. It definitely fits tighter, but now it kind of has that, like, it's not super comfortable. So I don't know. If you have any tips or tricks, maybe not slip stitching through the inside, but like running it through the ribbing somehow. I don't know. If you have any thoughts or feelings or experience, because you guys are so incredible and you always have the most amazing tips, please let me know. I love to hear your ideas and your tips. They are incredibly helpful and y'all are the absolute best. So I shall keep you updated. You know, it's like when you're knitting with toothpicks and ribbing, 2x2 ribbing, it doesn't go as fast as you hope. But it's been, I think I cast this on Tuesday night, like randomly major urge to do it Tuesday at like 9 p.m., which usually ends up as a bad idea because I'll mess up. But it was a good idea and it's been very fun, and I've been converted to small projects. I think because I'm a newish knitter and I just started sweater knitting like maybe a year ago, I want to knit sweaters because I love wearing things that I've knit. But I think there's, after those socks, it was so fun to have a smaller sized project that is quicker and just it has a different charm. And I felt extra enabled to do this because I got several people in the comments last week telling me that something that helps the health of their hands and to help their hands keep from getting sore is to have various projects with various needle sizes. And I thought that was such a great idea. So I felt like y'all had enabled me to cast on an extra project, even though I have the ranunculus on the needles. I don't like to have too much going on, but 2 projects of different, like not 2 sweaters or not 2 shawls, because those are big projects, like 1 bigger project and 1 smaller project. It feels right. It feels right to me, you guys. So here she is. And the color, color is what brings me all the joy. So I have a lot of joy right now with this guy. I cannot wait to have it on my head. I wish it would be done before we go to the mountains this week, but it will not. It will definitely be what I'm working on in the car when we drive up to the mountains this week. We have winter break. And I know you're asking, isn't like holiday break, winter break? No, apparently it's not. You need another 5 days off in February. Whatever. I just do what I'm told. So we are off to the mountains to ski again this weekend. This will be accompanying me in the car, and I'm hoping maybe while I'm there, I finish it and get to wear it. Who knows? Whatever. I no longer feel this like, I feel like I've knit enough now to realize that at the end of a project, like towards the end, you're getting excited because you want to wear it. You want your finished object. But it's like that anticipation is almost more juicy than the actual finished object. That's controversial. I get it. Maybe you don't agree. I agree that finished objects are magical and you get to put it on and oh my gosh. But there's something about that energy towards the end of a project that's pretty magical. So I'm trying not to rush it. I'm trying to just, I really enjoy knitting. I love the process. I love the finished objects. But I'm not rushing it. I am not rushing it. So next time you see her, I'm 99% sure it'll be done. But would love to know if you've knit the Robin Beanie or your favorite hat patterns. I really, really owe my whole family hats. I am a very selfish knitter. There are only so many hours in a day to knit, but my family needs hats. And I know there's a lot of hats on Pearl Soho's website that are free patterns that are really simple. You know what I think is I need to use heavier yarn, like this fingering weight yarn. No. It's going to need to be like a worsted weight hat for my kiddos. Thicker, quicker, faster gratification. So if you have any ideas, please let me know. What else? Let me make sure I got everything. Yep. Ranunculus. Oh, the love affair continues, you guys. I love this project. I finished the body. It's just, there is something about this project. Oh, Midori Hirose, you are a brilliant, gorgeous human being. And I love you for making this pattern because there are few things that I know with certainty I will knit again, but this is one of them. Look at this baby. Body is done. I decided to go for a cropped silhouette. It, I think, will hit about, or it does hit about at my hip bones. Once I block it, I think it'll be, it will obviously relax and be bigger. I think I knit at the size 2. I was debating between the 2 and the 3. I wanted a lot of positive ease. And I don't know what will happen after blocking. I know it'll get bigger, but I think the next time I might actually go for the 3. I have a 34-inch bust. On a good day, We're not super endowed up top, but I love the ease. It doesn't have as much as I thought it would. But again, I think it'll loosen up. I finished the sleeve. I did not do the diagonal cuff. She has like a fancy short row shaping thing at the bottom. You know, I wasn't feeling super keen on doing that. I don't know why. I was just like, I don't really want to. So I just did a stretchy bind off on the cuff. I didn't do the I-cord bind off, but you know what? Can I tell you a little secret? If you just bind off stockinette with a regular bind off, tell me that doesn't sort of look like an I-cord, right? Doesn't this kind of look like an I-cord? Why? Like, okay, this is an I-cord bind off. So we can do an actual comparison. Can you see that? Okay, that's an I-cord. This is actually in the I-cord bind off of this. You actually do hold 2 strands of mohair. So that's this. And then there's this. It doesn't look that different. Maybe you're all like, okay, delusion much? When I block this, I will pin it out so it doesn't roll as much. I like the look of kind of a raw edge. And I think with this linen quill, it has the kind of a raw look to it because it has this, I think it's 15% linen. Is that right? Do I have a little, no, I don't have the little label, but there is linen in here, thus the name linen quill, obvio. But see, like right here, you see that like bits of linen. It's just this rustic, spectacular yarn. I raved about the yarn last week, so I will refrain from raving on and on about it. But long story short, I like the look of kind of just a raw edge. So I didn't do a fancy bind off, and I want it to kind of flatten out. I think it will when I block it out. And I know stockinette will roll if you don't give it like a ribbing or something, but whatever, I don't care. I just did the normal sleeve. I didn't do any increasing or decreasing. It's just one big thing. I am on the second sleeve. I started it yesterday and look how far I already am. I cannot imagine, you know, if I hadn't cast on this Robin beanie, I would be done with this by now. But that's okay. Again, we're not rushing. We are enjoying the process. So yes, I wanted this to be done by this weekend, but it's not going to be. It will definitely be finished sometime this week, but it will not be finished in time for me to wear it out in Beaver Creek. And that is okay. I don't care. It's fine. I think I'm going to get a lot of use out of this baby. It is just shocking to me how such a stunning garment can be created with such little yarn. I used one entire ball of the linen quill, which I believe is like 400 something yards. It's a lot of yardage for 100 grams. And this is, I just started in with a second ball. I think I started the second ball towards the very end of the first sleeve. So, and you could choose to make this short sleeve and just use up one ball of fingering, seriously, for like a smaller size. So I'm gonna have a lot of this left. I bought this for a different project that it did not work out for the Daydreamer sweater by Andrea Mowry. But that yarn, that project called for sport weight, and this was just way too thin. Like the cables were looking just anemic at best. So it needed like a plumper yarn. So this just didn't end up being the yarn. But that is why I'll have like 2.5 balls left. I do think I'm going to make a camisole or a bralette out of this to go under this, because I think it would be so pretty. Because this is very see-through because of the like really large gauge. You definitely, it's not that see-through, but I'm going to wear a camisole kind of like I have on here. This is totally sheer, and I just wear a cami under it and it works out great. So I'm thinking about using some of this extra yarn to make a cute little camisole. Probably the Ripple camisole by Jessie Made Designs. I love her. I love her bralettes. She has a Ripple camisole and a Ripple bralette. I have both of those patterns in my library. She also has the other one that is my absolute favorite palette cleanser pattern I showed you guys before, is the contrast racer bra, but that requires DK. So I guess I could double up and make that, but we shall see. But that's kind of in my mind for using this yarn. I can't tell you how much I love this colorway, you guys, the fresh nutmeg colorway in the linen quill. Someone had left a comment that she did the exact same colorway for her ranunculus, but she held it with the mohair strand. And oh, I think that would just be gorgeous to do. However, I don't think linen quill even needs it. I think the yarn really shines alone. It is a stunner of a yarn. I have to show you this blanket I made for my son next time. It's upstairs and I really need to block it. I really need to give it a wash. So maybe it'll be a motivation. It is held with linen, it is made rather with a strand of linen quill held together with another Pearl Soho yarn called Line Weight. And it creates this really cool marled fabric, and I really want to show it to you. But the reason I bring it up is I have a lot of leftover linen quill from that project, and making this sweater out of linen quill has just opened up a whole new world of using up that yarn I have. So the other thing I did want to say, but I'm going to take a sip of water because my throat is dry. Apologies if that was gulpy in your ear because that's disgusting. I told you guys, I bought these US 10, right? Yeah, US 10 circular, 16-inch circular needles, a fixed set, because I thought it would be, it was easier to start this project with circulars that were small enough to just go around rather than magic loop. So normally, I told you guys last time, I didn't really enjoy using these for the top portion, for the yoke, but now I realize one of the reasons I didn't love them was because I told you last time also that these addies aren't as sharp of a tip as the Chowgus. And given that this is lacy work, so there are, things where you're gonna have to knit two together or whatever, I found the point just not to be sharp enough. And I had never really worked with 16-inch circulars, and doing it for the first time with a duller tip and lace work, it just made it hard. I wasn't used to holding that shorter tip for all that work. But when I got to the sleeve and I was doing magic loop, it was driving me crazy, y'all. I am not, do you know that feeling of just finding the rhythm of your knitting where you're just going round and around? It's just round and around in stockinette. It's just it's like a warm cup of tea. It's just the coziest, most soothing form of knitting there is. But when you're doing it in magic loop and you're go, 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 flip, scoot the stitches, pull out the cord, it just breaks that rhythm. I almost said ruins, but doesn't ruin it. It just breaks that rhythm. So it was okay, this is driving me crazy. It's just flip, 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 flip over and over for magic loop. So I was let me just try these 16 inches on the sleeves. Game changer. Okay, because it's just plain stockinette. There's no lace. It was a fabulous way to get used to the 16-inch, the smaller circumference, the smaller needle tip. Couldn't recommend it enough. If you have had a similar problem as me, kind of getting used to it, using it for the sleeves, I love it. total convert. I've got to see if Gu has some fixed 16 inches, or I know one of you mentioned the Haya sharps are even sharper than the Gus, so maybe I'll try that. Maybe I'll buy some fixed needles in, the common sweater sizes, like I guess US 4, I feel like is a pretty common, or whatever's my next sweater project. So I did want to let you guys know that I am a total convert on these 16 inches for a simple sleeve. I think it's like just perfect. And I cannot wait to wear this. I also had to tell you guys that I thought of the perfect book pairing with this, okay? So if you are planning on knitting this, maybe you're knitting it for the first time, maybe you're knitting it for like the 5th time. If you are a reader and you have not read the book Pachinko, of course, I did not prepare properly and write down the author, and I've totally forgot the author, but I'll put it in the show notes. The book Pachinko, it is the perfect pairing with this pattern, okay? Midori Hirose is of Japanese origin. Pachinko is about a family that has to leave Korea and move to Japan. And it's not just that, it's just the mood of these two projects. I mean, this project and this book is a match made in heaven. You're welcome in advance if you do cast this on and listen to Pachinko. Or just even if you're a reader and you just old-fashioned read, highly recommend Pachinko. It is an epic, it's one of those big stories where you just fall into it and you're just immersed in the world. That is my favorite type of book. And this is one of those knits that has that like romantic quality, and there's something very romantic, not romantic in terms of like there's a romance in the storyline that's particularly central. It's just the book Pachinko has a very romantic, epic, big feel. And I highly recommend those two together. I would totally re-listen to that book. It is really long, and maybe the next time I knit a Ranunculus, I will make that pairing happen myself. Okay. I think that's all I have to say about the Ranunculus for now. You've heard a lot about it, and I am pretty certain the next time I record, I will be done with both of these projects. And that is just so exciting. Loving a project and not having it ever feel like a slog or getting caught in that murky middle place. It's an attestment. No, that's wrong. I'll just skip that and say it attests to the beauty of this pattern, that it never feels sloggy. What else? I don't have anything else on my needles. Well, I haven't touched my MCALs, so I have nothing to say about that. There were some really exciting things that happened this weekend in terms of knitting. Both Andrea Mowry, she did a 50% off her patterns in honor of, I think because of her 100th episode of her podcast. So I was very excited about that. I bought the Douglas Cardi. That was the only pattern I had my eye on. I was really, really keen on casting that on soon, but I just haven't been able to settle on a color palette, you guys. So here's my problem. You want to hear my problem? Even if you don't, you're about to. I am not, as one might say, I don't have a sophisticated color palette, like as what I'm naturally drawn to. I'm more drawn to things that like an 8-year-old girl would be drawn to, like hot pink or neon yellow or stuff like that, like a girl from the 80s. I was born in the 80s, so I think I never grew up, maybe. I'm just like stuck in the like neon 80s. But you can't fight nature. It is what it is. However, The Douglas Cardi is a striped cardigan, and I think it will look better in a sophisticated neutral color palette. So I'm really dreaming of doing it in, like she does the collar and the ribbing in one color, and then she did like heathered, muted stripes. I really want to do the ribbing and the collar in like a maroon, like a really rich, solid maroon, and like a more sophisticated tonal, like browns and etc. And maybe like an olive green. I love olive green. Oh my God. But I love olive green with like neon yellow or hot fuchsia. Why can't I just come up with a normal person's adult color palette? I don't know. It is what it is. I can't figure out what colors. I've been just scrolling for inspiration and I just can't figure it out. I'm gonna just cut that story short because I could just ramble all on and on. I bought the palette. I don't know what colors I'm gonna do. Stay tuned. If you have any ideas, please let me know. There's one project on Ravelry that I just was so inspired by. It looked so cute, just oversized, and the girl looked so adorable in it. So I can't wait to figure out my color palette for that. Also, Jessie May from Jessie May Designs, who's one of my favorite designers. She was having a 40th birthday this weekend. Happy birthday to you. You are one of my favorite designers. She's so amazing. So I bought the big rib sweater pattern and I bought the ripple bralette pattern because I didn't have those. 40% off, which I thought was awesome, and I was very excited about that. I will cast those on at some point in the future. And the most exciting acquisition this weekend was that La Bien-Aimée, the spectacular yarn dyer out of Paris, France, was having a free shipping sale. This weekend, I believe, was Vogue Knitting Live in New York, and she was there, and in honor of that, she did a free shipping sale. I was thrilled, you guys. I love La Bien-Aimé's online store. I stock it all the time. It's just so beautiful. She carries so much yarn and has a very similar aesthetic to me. She's even releasing a book called, what is her book called? Neons and Neutrals or something like that. The book is hot pink. You know I'm getting that book when it comes out. Anyway, I just couldn't figure out what I wanted to buy from that store. I was gonna buy something. I wanted to buy a sweater's quantity, but I don't buy just, well, I shouldn't say I don't. I really try not to buy sweater quantities of yarn unless they are planned with a pattern in mind. The pattern I really wanted to do, and I've wanted to do forever, is the Rose Cardigan by Andrea Mowry. Years I've wanted to do this pattern, and I wanted to buy a kit because La Bien-Aimée did kits for that pattern, and Andrea Mowry knit using La Bien-Aimée yarn, and it's just such a gorgeous cardigan. However, after knitting the big cozy cardigan late last year, I love that cardigan, but it doesn't have a traditional cardigan construction, meaning you don't pick up stitches off the body for the sleeves. You kind of knit it as like the sleeves and the body are one piece. And I have found that sweater just slides off of my shoulders, even though I have these incredibly broad man shoulders. It drives me crazy. And Espace Tricot, I don't know if that's how you say it. I don't speak French, but that, on their Instagram, they had actually posted a picture of the Rose Cardigan like a couple of months ago. And they did a post about how whoever knit that actually seamed up the cardigan because they hated how it kept sliding off their shoulders. And so instead of a cardigan, they made it into a V-neck. Fantastic idea. But if you are familiar with the Rose Cardigan construction, it is complicated. You make it in quadrants. It's like got its huge spreadsheet. And then you do a ton of seaming. And I'm like, first of all, knowing that the pattern slips has like my biggest pet peeve as a problem. Like, why would I go through such a complicated process to just have a V-neck sweater? Like, there's tons of other V-neck sweaters that don't have a really like unique construction like that with a ton of seaming and mattress stitching. And so I decided not to do that one. I found the perfect yarn and the perfect project, and I ordered it. I'm gonna be really rude right now and not tell you anything about it, because when it comes in the mail, I'm going to open the package with you guys, and I just want to talk about that whole thing then. So stay tuned. Fake drama creation here. I'm not trying to create drama. I just really want to show you all that all together when that yarn comes. And it's been like 45 minutes of me rambling on. And if I talk about what I bought and the pattern I bought for it, we'll be at like 2 hours. And this isn't a movie, okay? This is just a podcast episode. I can ramble, y'all. I can ramble. That is all the yarny content I have. So if you are done, you can just say goodbye, and I'll see you next time. If you want to hang out for just like 5 minutes of life and parenting talk, I would be thrilled to have you stay for that. Yeah, last week was just a hard week, you guys. It was a hard parenting week. Everybody knows, the transition from like having younger kids to having teenagers. Even if you don't have kids, I feel like that's just something that we always societally just say, oh, that's hard. It is hard. It is hard. And it's not hard for, how to say it? Okay, I'll say it like this. Even in my 40s, I still find it hard to figure out who I am amongst others. Does that make sense? Like, I still don't find it natural to just be myself wherever I go. And I feel like that's really weird, because if there's anything one might be good at, you would think it would be being yourself. Like, why is it hard to be yourself? Like, what else are you going to be? But I don't think it's that simple. I think there's so many times where you walk into a room and you feel like you have to edit yourself, or you have to hold something back, or maybe you have to push something forward that's not really what you would normally lead with, to either feel like you're making other people comfortable or you're making yourself more comfortable. I don't know. Maybe that's just me and I'm super weird, but I find it a challenge still at almost 43 years old to know how to be. And think about a 13-year-old, how hard it is as a young person to find out where you fit in, to think, oh, like I really fit in with these people a year ago, but do I fit in with them now? I've changed, and where do I land? And is there something wrong with me? All those things. Oh, y'all, my heart goes out to all the young people. It's just so hard. I won't ever give away, the things my children are struggling with here, because that's their business. It's my business to talk about my struggles, but I'll never just, share super detailed things about them. But these are universal things. And I just have to say, you are never prepared. Like, you can prepare for parenting, but there's no preparing for the emotional toll of watching your kids struggle in these ways. Like, I thought it was hard for me to go through my own struggles to figure out who I am and where I belong and am I okay? But Lord, that is freaking cakewalk compared to watching your kiddo struggle. And so last week was just hard. And the weekend was great. I think it's so important to have balance in your life, that it's not just like they go to school and then home. They have lots of things in their life, lots of places to see, that even if I'm struggling here, when I go here, I feel good and know there's nothing wrong with you if you're struggling, right? There's nothing wrong with you. That is why I like to be open with you guys and messy with you guys, because I never want to present myself as like a finished product, a finished object, to be on theme with knitting. I am not. I am one big, ongoing, unfinished object. I have to frog myself on the regular and recreate parts and evolve. And I know you probably do too. And that is life. And we're probably only finished when we're dead. So anyway, that's just what's been on my mind lately in terms of parenting and life in general. Oh, it is hard, but this is a new week. You know, after struggle always comes a little calm, and I think that our kids find a lot of comfort in knowing they're not alone, and that even though it's hard, we're all in it with them. That it's not just teenagers that struggle with this stuff, it's adults too. Anyway, that is that. As far as what I'm reading, I'm still reading Clara and the Sun. I have lots to say about it, but I will save that for another day, as we are at like 50 minutes. I will save it for another day because I'm not done. So maybe I'll just debrief on that when I'm finished with it. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great week. It's Monday here. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is one of our dog's birthday. So Danny is turning 4 tomorrow. We're gonna have a little pup celebration party for her, and I'm really excited about it. So lots of love to you guys from me. I hope you have a wonderful, super knit heavy week, and I will see you next time, okay? It'll probably be like a little short mini episode from the mountains. That's what I'm planning. Fingers crossed that I can make it happen, and just update you from there. So anyway, have a great week, and I will see you next time. Bye.